Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about my financial journey, and we're also going to do a Q&A. A few days ago I posted one of those stickers on Instagram, and I just asked people to just ask me questions, anything they wanted to know, and I would address it in my YouTube video. So the topic of this Q&A is my financial journey, as well as anything saving, investing, budgeting, things of that nature. So it'll be financially related, but I will say I got a lot of questions. I probably won't be able to answer them all today, but that's why we got the channel. It's gonna be plenty more videos to come. Make sure you follow. Well, no, subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just trying to get into this YouTube thing, but yeah, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications so that way you can be notified anytime I do post. This channel will be all things, life related, travel related, and most importantly, financial related. Okay, let's get into it. So the first question is, what has your financial journey been like? My financial journey has been, it's not easy. It's been, filled with a lot of sacrifices, but I really do enjoy it. The main thing for me is watching my net worth grow. And then when my net worth reached over 6 figures, I was just like, I'm that girl. Like, you can't tell me nothing. Like, you just feel good to have your own and to know that you did it on your own. Like, it's nothing like setting goals and accomplishing those goals. So I started my financial journey in 2019. At that point, I was 2 years post-grad. I graduated 2017 from the University of Florida, period. So in 2019, at that point, I had been working. So when I graduated, I was blessed enough to go right into a full-time job. So I was working for 2 years, but I wasn't really saving or doing anything, whatever. The only thing I was doing was whatever was going into my 401k at that point. But I had no plan. I had no financial goals. So for those 2 years from 2017 to 2019, it was pretty much like it is what it is. Like, I'm just living life, like enjoying life. So, that was cool. But something like triggered me in 2019 where I was just like, okay, like I'm really ready to, be more intentional with my money. Like, I think at that point, I have been working for 2 years and I really didn't have much, but like 3K saved up. And that probably was just what was in my 401k. Like, I don't know. I wasn't intentional at all. Like, I made a post about this on my Instagram, and you can follow me. I'll drop my Instagram name in my in the description. But I made a post about how I started with 3K and I ended up with over six figures. So you can like, this is not. I'm not making this up. This is really what it is. And you can see, because I posted receipts on my Instagram. It's always better once you have goals, because that's going to push you like to reach those goals. Like, why are you saving? Why are you investing? Why are you budgeting? And then, what is your goal? So I really just was like, okay, I set a goal for myself. I said, I want to save $20,000. And I started with that first goal of, saving $20,000. So from that point on, I just really like buckled down. I stopped wasting money. I started being way more intentional with my money. And, before I knew it, I had 20K. And it was just like, literally, as soon as you change your mindset, your actions follow. But it starts up here first. Like, you have to just really mean what you say. Like, you can't just go around saying, I'm gonna save up 25K, but you still, like, your actions not aligned. Like, you still going to every brunch every Sunday. You still getting your hair done every 2 days. Like, it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? You have to be realistic with the amount of money you have as well. I think a lot of people live in la la land, and don't want to be realistic about what their situation is. But you have to sit down and really, like, look at what you have and think about where you want to be and figure out how you get there. Right? So I really had to be realistic with myself. But like I said before, I knew I had hit my first goal. And the tongue is a powerful thing. Okay, I will tell you that. Like, what you speak over your life, mama, like, that will happen. Like, but you have to do the work. But as long as you claim it and you're disciplined and you're intentional, you will achieve any goal that you set. Like, I just want to be very clear about that. Like, when you start your financial journey, it's going to be hard. Like, you're going to have to make sacrifices, but it's so worth it. And I tell you, it's so worth it. So next topic is budgeting. Someone asked me, how do you budget? Do you budget monthly or bi-weekly? So I personally, I do both, right? So I set a monthly budget that I plan to operate to, and then I look in on that budget bi-weekly, right? Because I get paid bi-weekly, so I like to stay on track of my money as it comes in every 2 weeks. So with budgeting, I will say, like, budgeting is the very, very first step. Like, when it comes to, you know, building your net worth and saving and then investing, like, you have to know how much you're able to save and invest. And that is where budgeting comes into play. We all are grown. We have bills, right? And things that we must pay, like mandatory. And, you know, if you want to keep your lights on and stuff like that, like, you got to pay your bills. So when you sit down and you budget, you think about what money do I have, right? What am I making? What are my key bills, like the things I must pay? And then you want to look at what's left over and figure out, okay, you know, how can I grow my net worth? This money I can use to save and invest and, you know, like, be really intentional with this money that I have. So that's what the practice of budgeting is, and it's figuring out how to allocate all of your money. I actually have a really, really good budgeting template that is available on my Instagram page. So if you go to my Instagram page and you go in, to click the link in the bio and you click on consulting services, you will be able to find the budgeting template there. And I'll also put the link below as well for that, to the link tree. But that template, and the template is free. That template is like really, really good. And it makes it really easy for you to budget. I know people don't really know where to start when they're starting this financial journey, and that's where I want to come into play. I really want to help you figure out, you know, what are the best tools to use to help you grow your net worth. You know, because I grew my net worth to over 6 figures by the time I was 25, right? So I could do it, you could do it. Period. Like, there's like, I'm no different than you, right? You just have to be disciplined. So that's just what I plan to do, is just share things that I've learned. But yeah, so you can use the budget template. It's really awesome. I mean, it was made by someone really great. But yeah, it's on my not YouTube channel, my Instagram. If you click the link in the bio, there will be the template. And it's basically going to just walk you through creating a budget, and then you'll have a budget to use to, you know, every month. And if you want a budget every 2 weeks, you can just change the amounts to bi-weekly amounts. But like I said, I prefer budgeting every month and then going in and checking in on my budget bi-weekly. That way, if I realize I'm, you know, not within budget, I have those last 2 weeks of that month to tighten up, you know. So if I went so crazy the first half of the month, then I need to tighten up the second half of the month. And another thing I will say for budgeting, you have to look at saving and investing as mandatory things that you must do. Those are not options for me. So when I budget, you know, I'm budgeting my bills. I'm including saving and investing into that, because that's top priority for me. But I do want to mention, for the budget template, it is free, but there is a version that you can buy that will come, you know, it's a small fee, and then I'll walk you through the whole process. I'll explain to you how to fill out the budget. It's videos of me talking and explaining it. That's for a small fee, because I know some people are not self-guided. You want to be, you know, instructed, and you need the background, and you need to be walked through. So, and it, you know, it's valuable information. So yeah, I just want to put that out there, that there's a self-guided one. It's just a template. It has instructions, or you can buy the version that, you know, for a small fee, I will walk you through. I will tell you everything. I will, you know, guide you through, tell you what each part of the template means, give you background, give you explanations on different tips and tricks and definitions. So yeah, I encourage you to get that version. So the next question is, how did I grow my net worth? I would say the main way I grew my net worth was from saving and investing. After, you know, budgeting and figuring out what I could afford to you know, put aside for saving and investments. I want to get a property. I want to start, you know, a business. I want to start, you know, things I want to work on. So I started saving aggressively into my high yield savings account. Basically what that means is that you earn interest on the money that you put in this savings account, right? So different banks have high yield savings accounts. And then I started investing more. So aside from just having a 401k, I started opening some investing accounts with brokerage firms. And you know, brokerage firms are just like any of these people that you hear of. So like TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, Fidelity, Vanguard, you know, Robinhood. These are different type of brokerage firms that you can open up investing accounts with. So I did that. I also opened up within those investing accounts. I just had a, you know, regular investing account. I also opened up a Roth IRA. That is one of my favorite type of investment accounts. And I also got a lot of questions about Roth IRAs. I cannot answer all of them in this video, but I will, you know, we'll have a whole separate video for Roth IRAs because that's how much I love them. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to start investing during the pandemic. And, you know, at that time with COVID, all of the stocks were plummeting. Like stocks were down, right? So, you know, what goes, you know, like they say, what goes up must come down. Well, like, yes, that is true, but in the game of stocks, what goes down also comes up. So I was able to reap the benefits when the stock market did recover. And, you know, I invested a lot in, you know, airlines, cruise line stocks, and, you know, different stocks that I invested in. And when those were down, I really did, you know, see the benefits once those stocks went up. So it's all about, you know, just doing your research and taking risk. You know, when I was investing in, you know, airlines and cruise line stocks, people were like, you're crazy because those industries are down right now because no one was traveling because of the pandemic. But I knew that those stocks would have to recover because people will absolutely have to travel at some point. So that worked out in my favor, right? So just about making smart investing decisions like that. And that's how I was able to increase my net worth. Next question is, how do you track your net worth? People ask me that often. So I track my net worth on an app called Mint. There are many different ways to track your net worth. I just want to put that out there. You don't have to use Mint. You know, you can do it manually. You know, I also do both. Like sometimes I just like to type it and go through each account myself because that really gives you the opportunity to look at your accounts. I think people make the mistake of not reviewing their accounts often, and you know, there's a lot of fraud out there. So it's like if you don't check your accounts, someone's probably getting over at you, right? So I like to physically go into my accounts and comb through them from time to time. But there's also apps out there that help you as well. So like Mint, you know, it tells me what my net worth is. So you can it pulls in all of your saving accounts, your investing accounts, your checking accounts from all of the different banks that you use and different platforms, different brokerage accounts, etc. So as long as you connect them to Mint, it'll pull all those in and it will tell you what your net worth is. And basically what your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. So your assets will be all of your money, right? All of your cash, all of your investments. If you have a property as well, Mint will track that, including your net worth. And then your liabilities will be all the money that you owe someone. So your loans, your debts. So it will take your assets, it'll subtract, you know, the liabilities, and then it'll have your net worth. So I love Mint because I used Mint from the beginning. So I literally from 2019 when I started and had $3,000, I see in Mint, you know, from where I started with 3,000 to where I have now over 6 figures. So the next question is, do you prefer traditional or Roth IRA and why? So I personally prefer Roth IRA. I've mentioned it a few times throughout this video, so it's clear that I'm team Roth. But both are good, right? I want to back up and just say that it is important to have an IRA, which IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. This is basically you contributing to your retirement outside of work. So if you work and your company offers you retirement benefits, then you probably have a 401k or a 403b or a 457 plan or something like that. The plans vary depending on, you know, what industry you work in. Within that plan is you know, a certain amount of stocks that they have picked out, different funds, probably a retirement fund, a target fund that they picked out, and it consists of a certain amount of certain stocks that you can invest in. But it's limited as far as the type of stocks you can invest in. But with an IRA account, you have the decision. So in general, you can pick the stocks that go into your IRA, whether it's traditional or Roth. And that's one of the beauties about having that type of retirement account, is that you have the choice to decide what type of, you know, what you want to invest in. And I think that's so important, having that choice and exercising that right to figure out what, you know, where do you want to take ownership? What companies do you really like? You know, I think a lot of people ask me, how do I know what to invest in? Well, what do you use every day, right? Look at the products that you use. You have, like I tell people all the time, you got an Apple phone, you got an Apple Watch, you got an Apple computer, you got an iPad, but you don't own any Apple stock. Make it make sense, right? Like, investing is a way to take ownership in these companies that you spend hundreds and thousands of dollars with every year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're using this and if you've been a loyal customer to a company for a long time, then maybe you should invest in that company, right? If you use them, and you know, a lot of people that use them or use their services or whatever, or buy their products, then maybe that's something you should think about investing in, right? Because clearly they're a valuable company and they've been around for a long time. You trust them enough to use their products, so why are you not investing in their company? So that's a good place to start when you're trying to figure out what you want to invest in. And you know, when you have IRA, you get to pick whatever stocks you want to put in there, and that's the beauty about it. And the good thing about it too is that, which is why I am for IRAs, is how they are taxed. They have different tax benefits, that's the difference with the traditional and the IRA account, is how they are taxed. And why I love the Roth IRA is because, so with a Roth IRA, you can contribute up to $6,000 a year. So if you contribute $6,000 this year and you make $6,000 off that, so now you have a total of $12,000 in your account. When you withdraw that money when you retire, all the money that you gained in your account. So let's just, as an example, that if you were retiring, right, you had $12,000 in your Roth IRA, that $6,000 that you gained would not be taxed. Every year when you file your taxes, I don't get any tax breaks for having a Roth IRA, right? That is money that is taxed this year. But say, for instance, the traditional IRA, if you had invested that $6,000 this year, you can deduct that $6,000 from your taxable income. So that would, open you up to more tax advantages this year. With the traditional, you get the tax benefit now. With the Roth, you get the tax benefit later. In the Roth, when you withdraw your money, you're not taxed because you've already paid taxes on it. With the traditional, because you are getting that tax break every year, when you withdraw your money at the end, you have to pay taxes on that money. So it's just the difference on how it is taxed, and you have to think about what works best for you. So next question is, what age do you want to retire from the corporate world and in general? So ideally for me, right now I'm 26. I want to be done with the corporate world by my 30s. So I want to retire from working in corporate America, I want to say by 35. I think at that point, I would have given myself a good time to continue to establish myself financially. And I do, so for work, I do consulting. And I really do love what I do, but I want to do it for myself. So I want to, by 35, and I'm going to put that out there because I think the tongue is a powerful thing and what you speak will happen. So by 35, I will be working for myself and running my own consulting business. As far as when do I want to retire in general, I don't know. I don't really have an answer. Like I said, financial literacy is my passion. So if I could do that for the rest of my life, I really wouldn't look at it as work. I look at it as my purpose. So I don't really have a desire to kind of retire and never do anything and just like travel and shop. I plan to do that, travel and shop, and continue to do the work, and fulfill my purpose. So someone asked, should I focus on paying down my debt or investing? So I would say with financial things, it's no one size fits all type of approach. It very much depends on your situation. So with this question, how I would answer it is, it depends. It depends on the type of debt that you have. So there's such thing as good debt and bad debt. So if you have, student loans, which is normal, if you have a mortgage, which is normal, I would say you should focus on investing. You should pay the required amounts to pay down those debts, but you should also then invest. But if pay down the bad debt that you have. So if you have credit cards that you've maxed out, you want to pay those down. Or credit cards with extremely high interest rates or loans with really high interest rates, you want to pay that down and then invest, because that debt is going to hold you back, and it's also going to bring down your credit score. So you want to make sure that you pay the bad debt down first and then focus on investing. But if you just have like student loans and regular debt, then you always pay your debt. That's key. Always pay. Right. What the issue is when you have too much debt on your credit cards, right? If you max them out, if you have a high utilization rate, you want to pay those down. You want to have, I think people say you want to have at least 30% utilization. Less than, I say you really want to have less than 10%. That really shows like that's where you're really going to see the impact in your credit scores, when your utilization is less than 10%. So you want to have your utilization down below 10%. You want to make sure you pay your credit cards on time. We all have debt. That's just the way life works, right? Debt is good as long as you utilize it to your advantage. Like I said, pay down the bad debt and keep the good debt. So, someone asked, what is something I wish I had known sooner about finances? I would say, I wish I just started sooner. There's so many different tools and so many different resources for you, especially when you're just starting out. I think people are very overwhelmed. You don't know anything about finances. You don't know what to do, right? You don't know what's real, what's good. So I would say just starting. I wish I had started way earlier than I did, even though I'm still considered starting early. But I would even be further ahead if I even started before, so I would say don't wait, just start. Whatever you have is enough to start with. Like if you're at zero, start. Like if you're in the negatives, start. That way you can climb out of that. Like never feel like it's too late or that it's just too much, you can't turn it around. If you don't know how to invest, there's so many different apps out there that'll do it for you. You have Acorns, that if you download Acorn, what Acorns does, it just rounds up your money and invests the change, right? So if you spend $1.50, it'll round that up to $2 and invest that 50 cents into an ETF or a mutual fund. So it makes it really easy for you to invest. You don't have to make any decisions, right? You don't have to really go pick the accounts and figure out how to do it yourself, right? And a lot of people also wanted to know that too. They wanted to know, where do I start with investing? And that's so much to get into, and that's gonna have to be a separate video in itself. But I will say Acorns is a really good place to start when you don't know what to do. It'll do it for you. There's also apps like Stash as well that will invest money for you. You kind of just pick what industry you want to invest in, and it'll kind of guide you as far as what's the best mutual funds or ETFs for those different industries. So, when you don't know, there are different resources to help you until you learn to make those decisions yourself. So I would just say start. Download some of these apps. I'll put my referral codes for those apps in the bio below. So just start. So that is all the questions that we have time to answer today. Like I said, I got so many questions, and they were really, really good questions. So next time, we'll talk more about investing. We'll talk about personal credit, how to build your credit. We'll also talk about business credit, traveling. People ask me questions about, give them some tips about traveling. We'll touch on all those topics. It was good for me to get an idea of what people, want to see from me, what they want to learn about. That's really important for me, is to make sure I'm giving people what they want and talking about things that people want to hear about. So thank you all for submitting those questions. I really do appreciate it. And you know, we have a lot of things to get into. This is only the beginning. I hope this channel will, I hope this video is very informational, but I hope in general that my channel will be, you know, very informative. And you know, also, you know, informative, but also real and stuff that you could really apply to your life. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you all love the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back.